This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys. Heard every Saturday right here from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. So if you got car questions, I guarantee you we got car answers. So I encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And for the quiet types, you can text us at 411-923. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we're going to get to some of your emails from Bumper to Bumper Radio, open phones and texts, of course, and quality auto parts. Matt, a subject that maybe people don't realize is quite an issue in our business. It's a little bit behind the curtain, isn't it?
Well, yeah, big time. It's you can get all different levels of parts. It's just like most anything else in life, whether it's construction supplies or the tennis shoes you're wearing or even a T-shirt. I mean, a Hanes Beefy Tee. It's a little bit nicer than, something maybe you buy at a discount department store. The old Yellow Front maybe. They have a whatever.
Yellow Front, that's an old name I haven't heard in years.
Yeah, I know, huh? But, the collar stretches out real easy, and, that $7 of savings just kind of not so shiny anymore. But, this topic comes up for several reasons. I mean, every day, Dave, we have to make choices on which parts we're going to put on our customers' cars. But I've learned a lot lately. I've been interviewing for technicians. We needed a replacement at the shop, and I don't like to do that in a hurry, so I took my time over a month. I told people that I interviewed, I'm not hiring anybody for a month. I don't want you to quit your job and come over here. We're going to make sure it's the right thing to do. Man, I tell you what, when you interview 20 or 30 people, you get the dirt. But one of the complaints that I heard from a lot of technicians is, the shop I work at, man, they use junk parts. Mm-hmm. These parts are garbage. This crap. They want to do this, or I'm always having to modify the part. Maybe a motor mount. You hear us talk about motor mounts. The only one to use is the original one. These guys are like, I got to spend 20 minutes making the part fit the car. That's almost half the time at the job.
They should invest in a Unibit, right?
Yeah, right.
to hog out those holes to make it fit.
Yeah, get a Unibit and a better grinder and quit complaining about having to fix these junky parts your boss is putting on the car.
Well, what am I? I was an auto store, auto repair facility manager when I was 20 years old.
And that was, let's phrase it though. That was I would call a chain store.
Chain store.
Multi-unit.
Yes, and I was young. I needed the money. I'm teasing. That was a joke. But I didn't know any better. So when I would call the parts house, they would say there's like 5 different choices of this part.
Cheapest one. And
I would say, give me the cheapest one, because I could mark that one up the highest and still be within what was tolerable for marketplace. And customers really never asked, they never really cared, and I didn't know there was anything wrong about that. Looking back as an adult, I'm like, I wasn't doing a very good job for people. But back then I didn't know what I didn't know.
Well, the other reason that makes me bring it up is I recently had a car we looked at. We do a lot of second opinions for people, and I'm looking at the estimate, and I'm like, man, how... Sometimes, like this, in this case, it was a strut job. And one of the most overlooked things, I would say, when people do, quote, strut jobs, is they don't quote the strut mount. And so when people bring in a price, and automatically I'm looking at it going, wow, that's cheap. They usually left the strut mount on a strut job.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes the mounts can be more than the darn strut.
Yep.
But in this case, I'm looking at this estimate going, God, it's got strut mounts on it. What the heck is going on here? Why is our price this much more? And I start digging in some more, and I kind of know the shop, so I know where they buy their parts from, and I've kind of priced things against them before. And then I see the part numbers on the estimate. So then I go to the parts store and put in the parts number. Oh, that's why they got this piece of junk strut. I mean, you can buy a KYB strut from the parts store. You can buy Monroe. Everybody knows Monroe. KYB you may not know, but that's probably the biggest Japanese manufacturer of shocks and struts going on all your Hondas and Toyotas and such. And then there's this World Import One. That thing was a third of the price of the quality struts. But yet on their estimate, they were only about 10% less than what
Did the estimate
good
say?
part was,
Did it say strut? Did it say premium strut? What did it say?
No, it just said strut.
Strut.
It should have said piece of crap strut. But that's what it was. So I had to explain to the woman, the husband and wife are actually there together. I had to explain to them here's my estimate. Now I can do this same estimate and use that same part, but I don't even want the job, because if you want your car fixed like that, we're probably not a good match, because I'm not into fixing cars poorly and putting poor quality parts and stuff on. So we're probably not a good match from the get-go. So if you want that, great. I'd suggest going back there. If you want a good job, let's do it here. Mm-hmm. We ended up doing the job. They understood the difference, and I could demonstrate.
Well, I had a strut quote literally this week in my shop. No, it was 2 weeks ago, and it was for $800 for struts. And I'm reading the quote, and it's just struts a la carte, no strut mounts. The alignment wasn't on the bill. There was a lot of things that were missing that should have been on the bill. And I told the guy, I said, this is like $400 too low, because you need strut mounts. That's the most negative symptoms from struts come from the strut mounts, and that's the first thing everyone leaves off the job to try and get the job and to be that low price. Mm-hmm. And it's not. If I can get the job done wrong for $800, I'd rather get it done right for $1,200. That's just the way. $800, and it's going to be done wrong. What's the point?
Exactly.
What's the point? I'd rather leave the factory stuff on.
Well, I think it comes back to kind of many of our conversations come back to the relationship. You want to be at a good shop. But asking questions, I love people when they ask questions, or I'll offer them, well, come on down, we'll take a look at it. I wouldn't know what I was looking at. Perfect. Because I really want you to know what you're looking at. So next time, or you might be able to help somebody else someday. But we want you to really understand, what you're buying.
But and I'll take the conversation the other way, because you got to ask questions. And you don't necessarily have to buy the best and most expensive part. Your vehicle may be in a life cycle where you're saying, you know what, I'm only going to hang on to this car for another year or two. So I don't need the Cadillac struts. Maybe I want some mid-grade struts, or maybe I do want that cheaper strut. And you might say, we can go that cheap, but we better not just do the job at all. It'd be better for you.
Right.
That kind of thing. But those are conversations that you can ask your shop. You should be willing to have, ask them, say, hey, why would you use this brand of strut? Or why should I go with this or that? Ask those questions, have that conversation, and if they're offended by the question, that's not a shop you can have a relationship with. You got to have someone that's open to have a conversation, some dialogue. You're getting ready to spend $1,000. It's a big expense. You want to spend it right, so you gotta ask some questions of your shop when you're in there.
What I think of struts as one. Spark plugs are another one. You might, and we're going back to price, because usually that's what triggers the question. 90,000 mile service, for example, or 105,000 miles. That's when the spark plugs need to be changed on a lot of cars now, and not until then. But I can go into my 2010 Tundra or your Toyota Camry or your Audi. The darn spark plugs are $29. It's a double iridium platinum. You take all the words that I can't can't describe, that have tables on
polonium carbide,
on the scientific table there, and they're expensive. But you know what? I can also look up, and in my catalog of choices, there's a spark plug that retails for $4.
Yep. And
it still fits that Camry or that Accord or whatever. So 6 times 4, last time I checked, was 24. And 30 times 6 is 180. Is that right?
That's a big difference. Not
I
too
made
bad.
it out of third grade. So now all of a sudden, I am $100 and whatever $150 more on a tune-up. You rip off. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you didn't get the spark plugs that last. You got the spark plugs that are only going to last 30,000 miles, and it's probably not a hot enough spark. The car's not going to be.
How many drivability problems have you had in your shop, and the answer ends up being that they put the wrong spark plugs in?
Yep.
All the time. You're like, man, everything. The numbers look good. This looks good. That looks good. You pull out a spark plug, and you're like, that's the wrong model plug.
Yeah, something just doesn't feel right about it.
They put the old auto lights in this thing, and they shouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. It's I worked at a gas station back east, and we got in this huge shipment of Nip and Denso. Great spark plugs. I mean, for the right application, right? But there's so many numbers coming in. I'm like, why are we doing this? oh, we can have much less part numbers on the shelf. Oh, so this one part number fits 7 cars, where on a narrower part number range, that one part number may only fit 2 cars.
It's way too broad of an application. It's not going to be the right
too broad
fit for your car. You know, one of the things I think of when it comes to price is batteries. I mean, that's something. There is some generic batteries out there. There's not even a label on these things. And the thing about batteries, when you get a cheap battery that maybe is not good or not of quality, they leak acid. And when they leak acid, for me in the transmission business, we see bad batteries wreck transmissions all the time because the acid leaks down. And where do they put the electrical connections? Right on top of the transmission.
Oh, my gosh.
And they always mount the battery right over the transmission. So I don't know how many cars I've seen where a cheap battery has cost someone a bunch of transmission repair because it wrecks the wires underneath the battery. So when it comes to batteries, I just, it's one of those deals where you can trip over, trip over a dime or trip over a dollar to save a dime.
Yeah,
exactly. So if a generic battery is $100 and a good one is $129, it might be worth it, to spend $129.
It is.
But, for us, because we don't want to mess around. There's good names that have been around a long time. Someone's got a good name is not necessarily going to put out a crap product. So we stick with Interstate because the brand has been around forever. They're available coast to coast. Any good auto repair shop is going to have Interstate as a choice at their shop. It's almost like commonplace in the marketplace. So Interstate batteries is what I use at our store.
And ask for the Megatron.
Megatron. I know it sounds like this battery would be like a stomper. Anyhow, when we come back, we're taking your phone calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And maybe if you're looking at a repair and it's going to be expensive and you want to know, is there different grades of parts? You want to talk about parts quality. But it doesn't even have to be about parts. If you got a noise or a squeak or a chirp or some weird intermittent problem that happens every third Thursday, let's talk about it. Give us a call, 602-277-5827. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A-plus rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
It's time to celebrate Dad with a gift he really wants. The gift of golf from PGA Tour Superstore. Come join Bunker to Bunker, the golf show, broadcasting live this Saturday, June 10th from 7 to 9 a.m. at the Glendale location of PGA Tour Superstore at the northeast corner of Bell and 75th Avenue. Doors open at 9 a.m., but join us early for golf giveaways from Grand Canyon University Golf Club and $20 off coupons for store merchandise. Come shop at any of the 4 Phoenix locations or Tucson location and save for Father's Day.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Hey, if you want me to take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, I will. I got spare time. But for now, for your customer's sake, for your daughter's sake, you might want to think about buying a quality product from me.
You literally can't talk about the quality of auto parts without bringing up Tommy Boy.
I know.
Fantastic scene from a movie. But it's exactly the point. Some people, you can have this amazing warranty, but it's a piece of poop in a box,
right?
So one of the things that we've got some phone calls here and some open lines at 602-277-5827. But one of the things I think about is that crummy parts. If you start fixing your car and cars are going to start to run a repair 60, 80,000 miles, you start fixing that car with crummy parts. Crummy parts ruin cars, and it's, when we go to buy front end components, we had a call from our friend Dave up in Star Valley, and, there's a good Moog ball joint, and then there's a A ling-long ball joint.
Ling long. It doesn't ling very long, though. The thing breaks pretty fast. You know?
So, I mean, no one's ever heard of the brand Ling-Long, but we're going to put them on your car, sir, because they're going to be good for you. No, I'd rather you leave on the worn-out part than put on the Ling-Long part, because, I mean, literally, they are different. It's like when we buy Torrington bearings for transmissions. You take a name brand Torrington bearing, and you run a flat file over it, it glides right over the top of it. You take a generic overseas kind of brand, and you run that same file over it, and it digs in. And you can just tell there's a difference in the metal. And I'm not a metal guy, but I can tell there's an obvious difference right there.
Big time.
So you're going to spend a bunch of money hanging poop on the car. You might as well spend a bunch of money and hang a little nicer stuff on the car.
Well, I think you said it a couple times, David. Like you make the example of your window. If it costs this much to do it, is there a better way to do it?
Yeah.
And then too, if you're going to get
that's the question that these people, maybe the takeaway is that they can be asking. Okay, so for $1,100, is that the way you would want to fix my car struts? Is there a better way to do it? No, this is actually the best way to do it. Okay, is there a cheaper way to do it? Because maybe I want to save some money. And it can go either way. You don't necessarily have to go with the Cadillac, the top of the line. Maybe there's some middle grade there.
I don't even know if Cadillac is the top of the line.
It isn't anymore. Well, it's...
What do we have to start saying?
All right.
I want the Mercedes. I don't
know. Yeah, right?
I want the Toyota.
What do we... The Glitz and Glimmer brand. I want that.
Right, exactly.
So anyhow, well, we've got phone calls here. We've got Grant, and we're going to take Chris, and we've also got open lines at 602-277-5827. Hey, Chris, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. How can we help you with your 2011 Toyota Tacoma?
Well, it's not mine yet, but I'm looking at it, and I'm just wondering about a four-cylinder. Tacomas are lighter weight. I was first looking at Ford Ranger, and keep telling me that Tacoma doesn't ever break down, and but then the four-cylinder isn't as powerful as the V6. So
you're looking to buy a used truck? Is that what we're hearing?
She's coveting a Tacoma. Coveting is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm teasing.
Yeah, I know.
But we were having this conversation at breakfast because I was talking to a gentleman. He's got a Toyota 4Runner, and I've got a Nissan Xterra, and we're kind of like sizing them up. And my Xterra will leave his Toyota in the dust. I mean, I'm proud of my Xterra.
Did you have to get down and compare bicycles hanging off the back too?
We do that too. But I've always noticed in the Toyota world that some of their products are a little less on the power side, but I'll tell you, man, their products tend to last longer. And sometimes that V6 versus four-cylinder conversation, I hate to have a vehicle that has an underpowered motor because when I need it, it's not going to do the job. So that's one consideration. But the thing that I never see on these four-cylinder Toyotas, man, they go and go and go, and they hardly break anything. And then when you got to fix them, when the spark plugs are $29, you only got to buy 4, not 6.
Exactly.
Saving money already.
And they're a lot easier to get to. But I'll tell you one thing. That's one of those broad strokes. The Toyotas never break down.
Yeah, it is.
Well, part of the reason that you could say they never break down is because the behavior of the typical Toyota owner was that they were very well onto their maintenance and very proactive in taking care of the car. So that has a lot to do with it. I mean, hey, a Kia is a great car today. 15 years ago, it wasn't. Some of it was because of the car, and some of it because it was the people buying the car.
Right.
They barely afforded the car in the first place, and then it just wasn't.
So it wasn't getting maintained.
A good car on top of that. So.
I think it's personal preference. If you like driving the Ranger because it's peppier and more fun, buy the Ranger. If you're worried about, hey, I just want, maybe the best gas, whatever, kind of stack them all up, and at the end of the day, just pick one and enjoy it,
And take it to your shop. If you don't have that shop, bumpertobumperradio.com. Find a shop in your neighborhood, maybe near where you work, and get the car checked out before you buy it.
And I'm going to put all my friends on notice if you're listening. If you buy another car without talking to me, I'm going to, they just buy the car and then they bring it in. They go, what do you think?
You're stupid.
Let your trusted automotive technician or shop, let them check it out before you buy it. And the people selling it, I mean, a 2011 Tacoma is probably a chunk of change. For spending that kind of money, you should want somebody to check it out rather than just buy it sight unseen. And there's some cars that are priced, down in that range where, there's no taking it to a shop. It's like, the truck's $2,000. It's whether I'm going to sell it to you, I'm going to sell it to somebody tomorrow.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. So thanks for the call, Chris. 602-277-5827. We're going to go with Grant in Scottsdale. He's got a 2004 Chevy Tahoe. How can we help you, Grant? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Hey.
Hey, how are we doing?
Fantastic.
Excellent. Hey, I got an every other Thursday problem, and I just noticed it again about 2 days ago.
Well, you're going to have to call us in 3 Saturdays then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well, so sometimes I turn on my Tahoe and the air conditioner blows hot air, and then when I get to my stop and then I turn off my car, turn it back on to go to the next spot, it's blowing cold air again.
You know how I said if you had one of those intermittent problems? I lied. We're not going to answer that question for you. But I'm kind of almost thinking, like maybe we got a blend door type issue or control. There's with the air conditioner, there's the mechanical side of it, the compressor and the refrigerant and the condenser and the evaporative core.
There's the part that makes the air cold, and then there's the part that puts the cold air where it needs to go.
Right. And inside these Tahoes, there's actuator motors that blend hot and cold air. That's how you get, a lot of Tahoes have the his and hers, air conditioning controls. And, sometimes I'll get in my car and I'll turn it on and it's blowing screaming hot air because the blend door is over there and it hasn't made its way back over to the cold side. So, I'm kind of thinking somewhere along that line. And with a good AC service, a technician will be looking at that. He'll be checking all the doors. He can actually actuate those with the scanner to see what's going on. And it may be one of those things where you do a Fonzarelli on the dashboard when it's blowing hot. Just kind of give it a tap, and maybe if a good song comes on the radio, you did the right thing.
The Fonzarelli. Well, and what about, Dave, the Tahoes, a lot of the GM products, maybe you had a battery changed. Your battery died, or even had to get a jump start or a new battery. Sometimes they will lose their home. So they need to be recalibrated, reset.
Oh, that's another good point. And John and I talked about this several weeks back. When these batteries are weak, they still start the car because a battery doesn't have to be full pop to start the car, but maybe the voltage is low. So even when you turn the key, if that voltage drops below 9 volts, a lot of these things will lose their time or lose their calibration. So that's a consideration there. Back to that whole battery topic. So Grant, it's gonna be one of those things. Maybe just pay attention. I mean, I know we were joking about it being on Thursdays that it's happening, but see how often it's actually taking place.
Yeah, and one of the things too. I mean, now's air conditioning season. We probably need to have another show about air conditioning, but pay attention to what the car's doing. Let the technicians and the service advisors know the behavior. Really try and think, is it cold in the morning but hot in the afternoon? Is it when you say it doesn't blow cold air, does it blow hot air? Well, is that air actually heated or is it ambient temperature? The more information we can have servicing your air conditioner, the better job we're going to be able to do for you.
And then the thing, too, when it's doing that, Grant, for you, go ahead and start playing with knobs and whistles and see if you can affect it, because that may do more to it. So anyhow, when we come back, more phone calls at 602-277-5827. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR Car Guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships. And listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Hi, I'm Dave Riccio, owner of Tri-City Transmission. Well, you may have come to know us for being a transmission expert. What you may not know is that our customers regularly ask us why we don't perform repairs to the rest of the vehicle. You guys are so great. Why work on just the transmission? Well, the requests became hard to ignore, and 3 years ago, we began to build an infrastructure to perform general automotive repair. We weren't going to do general repair if we couldn't be great at it. So in 2013, we began the soft opening of Tri-City Auto Repair on Smith Road. We brought on ASE Master Technicians to work side by side with our Master Transmission Technicians. The combination of the best in both of these trades has created a synergy that allows us not only to fix your transmission, but to service and repair your whole car, and to do it well. Let's face it, the modern car has become so integrated. We believe all of our expert knowledge puts us ahead of the curve. Find us at TricityTransmission.com or TempeAutoRepairShop.com. That's TempeAutoRepairShop.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE MasterTechs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Arizona's news station. KTAR. On air, 92.3 FM. Online at KTAR.com. And streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic. Now.
It's 11:30. I'm Tom Perumian. Here's our top story. Competing rallies in New York City and across the country, including Phoenix today, as multiple groups saying their demonstrations are against the atrocities committed in the name of Sharia law and that they are for human rights. Frank Morgenthaler was at New York's anti-Sharia law event.
We want to support this to save the Constitution, to prevent ever Sharia law being implemented, because Sharia law is directly opposed to the United States Constitution.
A rally is also underway at Phoenix's Paradise Valley Park. So far, the rallies are peaceful, and there have been no reports of violence. Actor Adam West, better known as TV's Batman, has died at the age of 88. Family members say on a verified Facebook page that West died Friday night after a short battle with leukemia. West's straight-faced portrayal of the comic superhero brought the Cape Crusader into the national consciousness with the campy 1960s series. Now we get a check on traffic. Here's our own superhero, John Michaels, in the KTAR Traffic Center.
All right, thank you, Tom. Well, an earlier crash 10 west of the 1710 split off to the right. Looks like that's now in the clearing stage. And on the surface streets, police and fire on scene for a crash with injuries reported 7th Street at Roosevelt. This report brought to you by the Lund Mortgage Team. Increased property values means you might be able to finally drop your mortgage insurance. Ask the Lund Mortgage Team how. Call 623-875-9940 today. That's your traffic. KTAR News.
Cloudy and 102 today. It's 82 in Mesa. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. I'm Tom Perumian on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Whether you're a lifelong dirt road driving, tackle box toting weekend warrior or an outdoor lifestyle rookie, from the desert to the mountains of our great state, Mike Russell has the outdoors in Arizona covered this afternoon at 1 with Get Outdoors. Only on KTAR News 92.3 FM and streaming live on the KTAR News app.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
Here's what Carrie from Tempe had to say about her experience with Good Works Auto Repair.
As soon as you realize, I need to get some work done on my car, I'm sure the thought occurs to you that you're about to get taken for a ride. I used to share the same sentiment and wondered if the shop was going to make something up and have me spending hundreds of dollars instead of $30 I was planning on for a simple oil change. This is one of the reasons I will only go to Good Works Auto Repair. Because I trust them. Putting trust in an auto shop didn't come easily. It's been built over several visits with them doing exactly what was needed, not coercing me into unnecessary work. Ask them for an oil change and a safety inspection, they do just that. No baloney, list of filters, belts, and whatchamacallits that need replacing on my new car. Thank you, Good Works Auto Repair, for being there for me when I need you.
Appreciate the kind words. It's always a pleasure. Glenn Hayward here. Come experience what award-winning auto service should be. Goodworks Auto Repair in Tempe, or visit us at goodworksautorepair.com.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are your KTAR car guys. And we've got Tim and Alan lined up in the phones, but we do have open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. We're going to fix their problems, and we're going to fix your problems because you're going to call on our open lines. And, Matt, I wanted to take a minute and explain Bumper to Bumper Radio. It is a radio show for you to keep you in the know about car stuff so you don't feel at a total loss when you got to take your car in and you're like, man, they're telling me to spend like $700 and I got no idea if I need it or don't need it. We want to remove that anxiety. The other thing that Bumper to Bumper Radio is a network of auto repair shops that make this thing happen. And these are shops that Matt and I would gladly refer you to. Just go down there and see Glenn at Goodworks over there if you're in Mesa, or go see Lee Weatherby, or I-17, collision if you got a body issue. So you can find a list of good auto repair shops if you don't have a one to call home at bumper2bumperradio.com. So it's bumper, T-O, to bumperradio.com. And then, of course,
when you're on bumper2bumperradio.com, there's that little Facebook logo. Click on that, like us. Dave and I like some new friends occasionally.
Right.
We're scaring some off.
We could use some love, that's for sure. So anyhow, 602-277-5827, or text us at 411-923.
Speaking of which, do have a couple text messages and actually some messages from some listeners. One of them is, my car failed the emissions test. It received a tamper fail status. What does this mean? Could mean a couple things. I mean, they will not adjust anything at the emissions place. They plug it in, and they unplug it. They're not allowed to, let me just plug this in, let me adjust this and it will work. They can't do anything. So that could be something as simple as the ALDL connector, which is the diagnostic port. That could have come unclipped from where it connects underneath the dash. It could be that the fuel tank filler neck was damaged or opened up somehow to get the wrong kind of fuel in there. There could be a number of different things. I'm surprised they didn't tell you what it was. But that's, maybe just get to a shop and they can take a quick look at it for you.
Yes, for sure. Anyhow, we're going to go with Tim in Florence. He's got a 2007 Chevrolet Tahoe. How can we help you, Tim? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
You bet.
My Tahoe recently started acting a little different on me. It's got 120,000 miles on it, and when I'm driving it, I go from like normal first thing starting to a stop sign. Everything's fine. When I go from the first stop sign, everything trips over. It's like a Christmas tree, and everything lights up. As far as the stability link, traction control, check engine starts flashing. There seems to be a problem with power being distributed to the engine. It kind of hesitates or shudders as it tries to go. The transmission can't find its right spot to shift. So I've been tracking it and tracing it for about 2 months now, trying to figure out what it is. Finally ended up taking it to a Chevy dealership, and they told me when you apply power to the engine, when it's in park, in park it's fine, but when you put power to it, even in park, you hear a tap and they're saying AMF lifter, alternative fuel management, because it's got the engine in it that shifts down to 4 cylinders when it doesn't need the all 8. Right. They're telling me it's the lifter, and it's misfired from the scan about 35,000 times it's misfired. So they're saying, about 2,500, or if the cam's damaged, about 35.
Yep.
So I went on your website and found a shop. I live in Florence, like I said, so nothing really relatively close to me. So my question is why I contacted one of the shops, and I couldn't tell the gentleman's name because I'm not looking at my emails. But he responded right away and told me just bring it to the shop. I need to verify, which is totally understandable. My question is, am I going to damage the engine more by driving it another 60 or 70 miles up to the valley?
Yeah. Oh, for just the drive to the valley, I don't know, but we have a lot to address there, Dave.
Yeah, I recently had a friend go this where a lifter broke, and then those pieces, essentially fall down somewhere. So that's one of the concerns that I have. If we have a broken lifter, is it going to damage the cam? All that kind of stuff.
Well, and they did make the comment, it's more money if the cam is damaged. I mean, that cam might already be damaged, or you could damage it in that 60 miles. So, it's kind of like going to the casino. You throw the money down or not.
Right,
right. You don't know if you're going to get a return. It's a lot like insurance.
And as far as these, if it's a matter of getting it towed in, some of these towing things, usually they'll have a 100-mile tow in there somewhere. Maybe that's a good time to use it. But I realize you got to take it a long way to have somebody to look at it just to diagnose it and see what's going on. But it sounds pretty close to the one I had in my shop here recently.
That's one of those ones too. If the cam's damaged, what they say, $3,500 or something like that, and then ask the questions. What else are we going to do? What else does it make sense? $3,500 might not include new spark plugs, might not include new spark plug wires, a lot of different things. That estimate starts getting $3,500, $4,000, 120,000 miles. Pascal at my shop, he's got a 2007 Suburban. He had a similar problem. We could have fixed the car, but now you're like into 70% of the cost of just replacing the engine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about just replacing the engine. I'm talking about doing it right, the hoses, the mounts, and all that kind of stuff. So, again, you've got to look at where you are in the life cycle and ask those questions. Is there another way to do this? Maybe I should just take another bite and really fix it for the future.
Right.
Are there other problems with this engine on the bottom end? Is it worn? Are there a number of different things to consider? So, but it's definitely worth a second opinion and definitely worth asking some more questions. Have that conversation.
For sure, and you can call the shop. It's a good question for the shop that you were talking to off of Bumper to Bumper Radio. See what they're they're going to have more time to kind of digest some of this on the phone with you. So anyhow, thanks for the call, Tim. 602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. We're going to go with John in Wickenburg. He's got a Chevy Nova. Is that like 1955?
That's an SS.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's an outfit. I don't know. What do you got there, John?
I've got a 65 Chevy 2 Nova.
Okay. What's going on with it?
Okay. I'm not sure if it's the gas sending unit or the gauge, but when I turn on the ignition, the needle goes over to full, but then it never moves off of full.
Okay.
When I drive it. And so I'm guessing how much gas I got so I don't pass up too many gas stations.
Right. Well, I mean, that's going to be a fairly simple. I'm about to sneeze here.
Okay.
Come on, Dave, step up to the
mic.
Right. Now my
sneeze, God bless you.
my sneeze went away, but
look at the sun.
A fairly simple system. It's going to have probably one wire that's got a resistor in it, a potentiometer, and then you've got the gauge unit that's got power on the other side of it. And depending on where that resistance level is, determines where the gas gauge is. So if it's stuck full, I don't remember off the top of my head if you ground it, if it goes full or if it goes empty. You need to find the gas gauge unit and just unplug it and see if there's any change. And then ground it and see if there's any change. And just see what happens and trace that back. Back up to the dashboard. You ought to be able to find a wiring diagram for that car somewhere. It's not. That's going to be one of the most simple wiring things. But again, that wire could be pinched anywhere in between the sending unit and the gas tank or the dash panel. How many hundreds of people work on that car?
And for those of you listening, these sending units we talk about in gas tanks, it's almost like if you open up the back of your toilet, you see this float. It's an arm with a ball on the end, and now they've kind of changed it to where now it's just a cylinder, and the float is on the cylinder. That's what's going on in your gas tank. And it actually, the pickup down at the bottom of the tank, there's a little baffle in there for slosh, in the bottom of that gas tank. And so we talk about the fuel pump. Well, the fuel pump used to be on the side of the engine. Now it's back in the fuel tank. And it's been in the fuel tank now for a little while since we went to fuel injection.
Long time. In there for a long time.
So yeah, this stuff changes. So anyhow, when we come back, we're taking your phone calls at 602-277-5827. We've got wide open lines at 602-277-5827. If you got any questions about your car, maybe you're thinking about buying a car, maybe you got some weird situation you don't think anybody can fix, maybe we know somebody who can, give us a call. We'd be happy to help you out. You listen to Matt and Dave, your KTAR Car Guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyons Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. Dave Riccio here, along with Matt Allen, and we are helping you with your car. And we've got some phone calls here, and maybe time for a couple more at 602-277-5827. And I'm looking at our text, Matt, and this one piqued my interest. Please tell me the difference between regular oil and synthetic oil. How important is it to keep using synthetic oil over regular oil? And I think the next text it's from Jackie, or maybe I'm reading that wrong. But either way, back to the last guy that called, and he's got the Tahoe, and it's got something broken mechanically, and how expensive that can be. And my friend, my neighbor, she just went through the same thing with hers. And when hers got to our shop, and I didn't tell her, so I hope she's not listening, we found it 3 quarts low on oil. And it was a $5,000 hit to her family because she ended up just trading off broken, and she took a $5,000 hit on the trade-in value of the car. And they were generous with that because she didn't want the car. She didn't want to fix it. She just wanted to get something else because she was planning on trading it in the day before it broke, and she's like, I'm going to camp on another day. But you know what?
That's one of those, I'll just drive it into the ground. You sure did.
Exactly. She drove it into the ground. So for you people listening out there, if you're doing, every time you go to the shop and you're going to fix things on the cheap or take the least expensive route, I get it because money's hard to come by, right? It doesn't grow on trees. But the consideration is, if you're going to, down the road, if you're going to save a few $100 on oil changes and down the road you're going to spend $5,000, it's not worth it. And we always think, well, I'm not going to have this car very long. I'm going to get something else. But life never goes the way we want it to. So you got to plan for the worst and hope for the best. I mean, that's the way I look at it. So, yeah, if you can afford to get another car in 2 years, great. But in the meantime, if you end up driving this car for another 3 years longer than you thought you were, hey, at least I know I took care of it all along the way. So I put synthetic oil in my car. I know that's a long answer to a simple question. I do it for a couple reasons, because I drive my car hard. I mean, I floorboard that sucker all the time.
You're that
Yeah,
guy.
I am that guy. You know,
Well,
I'll speed up just to get to the next stoplight.
And don't be confused on sometimes you can stretch the oil change a little longer on the synthetic oil change. That's not why I want you to use synthetic oil, so you can go longer. You know, I want you to use it because we want the protection for the engine. If there is some benefit to going longer and stretching and getting away from the 3,000-mile oil change, you bet. But I don't want to see you going 15,000 miles. The oil may last. That's a whole other topic. Maybe we need to get the oil guys again. The oil is usually fine. The oil change is the opportunity to make sure that everything else on the car is not falling apart, because these cars can change a lot in between. In between oil changes.
And as quickly as they're producing new models of cars and new engine sizes and all that stuff doesn't get R&D'd like it used to. I mean, they put these suckers out right away. So when you buy a car, we don't know what the inherent problems of that car are going to be 5 years down the road. And so, you know, you got to start off the bat taking care of this car, because on these Tahoes, I have a feeling we're going to see a few more of these rolling through our doors with this problem that gentleman described to us. It's going to be expensive and not fun. And
Dave, what do we talk about in the beginning? Cost of a crappy strut, or a less expensive spark plug. Well, what do you think happens on oil changes? These Tahoes require the Dexos oil. It is synthetic. Back when that Dexos came out, it was a synthetic blend, and we'd have people come in. I had many customers turn around, walk out of the shop, because they thought they were signed up for a $29 or a $35 oil change. And you tell them what oil their car takes, and they say, that's too much.
Well, when GM went to that better oil and that restriction, they knew a little bit more.
Yeah.
They knew these people manufacture this thing down to the nth degrees for getting the most out of it. You know, profitability and longevity. They got to consider all those things. So use a little nicer oil. Maybe we can cheapen up on some of the product inside the motor. You know, so there's more to it. And if you're cutting corners on things, I'll tell you what, maybe they knew more than we give them credit for. So anyhow, we're going to get with Scott in Mesa. He's got an 01 Ford Focus. How can we help you, Scott? You are on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Yeah, like you said, I've got a 2001 Ford Focus. It's a ZX3 hatchback with a 5-speed manual transmission. It's got about 128,000 miles on it. And last week, Saturday, when I went to go drive off, it started shuddering anytime I put it in first gear or reverse, to the point that it almost felt like the clutch was slipping, and it would even squawk the tires when it actually grabbed.
When you say shuddering, it wasn't a grinding like, you know.
No, not at all.
Okay.
The whole vehicle shakes from it.
Right.
And once I get past it, it does it barely in second gear, third, fourth, and fifth, nothing at all. But it also does it when it downshifts back into second and first.
Okay, I got you. I think we're dealing with some inertia here. So when you first get something rolling, an object at rest wants to stay at rest, and once it's moving, so that clutch, very well, it's not unusual to see a clutch fail by 120,000 miles. I think we're just starting to get a chatter out of it. The other problem, too, I was considering is maybe he's got a broken motor mount. I mean, that's not outside the possibility. Clutches will chatter when you've got a broken motor mount. I think, you can have a CV joint bind up and cause a clutch to chatter. So off the bat, I'm thinking clutch, but it still needs to be diagnosed because it could be a matter of a bad mount. I mean,
or
things hopping around.
Combination thereof. You
Of
could
both,
have,
correct.
Multiple things there for sure. Hey, I wanted to just take a quick message. Somebody had called in, Dave, and just left a message with Bree for us. They had a question about putting a trailer hitch. What weight? I think it was what weight should go as the trailer hitch on a PT Cruiser. That's not really an easy question for us to answer. There's so much that comes into towing. There's one thing to be able to tow the car, but you got to be able to stop the thing too. It can't be overweighted. I don't know that any of the bumper-to-bumper shops are hitch specialists, but U-Haul, they're the experts. They've got all the R&D. Go to U-Haul, have them put a hitch on there. They're going to know. They're not going to let you overload your car.
Yeah, that's one thing too, and that's one thing too is that I see people that are doing a 3/4 ton job with a 1/2 ton truck. Mm-hmm. That's can be unsafe because a 3/4 ton truck has bigger brakes.
It's like 5 pounds in a 3-pound bag.
Correct. So when you are considering buying a vehicle, you can sometimes use a vehicle outside of its normal operating mode and get away with it, but you don't want to do it long term. So PT Cruiser, I don't think towing is like the first thing I would do on my list. It better be pretty light. So anyhow, let's go with looks like Brandon in Gilbert. He's got a 97 Toyota Camry. How can we help you, Brandon? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Whoa.
You hung up on him, man.
Right when we hit the button.
Oh, man.
Brandon,
Call us back. We'll get you in. We'll go with Cal in Scottsdale. He's got a mystery oil thing. What can we help you with, Cal?
Oh, yeah, it's Dave, right? Or is it Matt? Anyway,
Dave.
Marvel Mystery Oil. I got what your thoughts on that, and then also Gum Out Octane Booster.
It's a mystery.
And yeah, you've heard of Marvel Mystery Oil. I think it's made from pig fat.
Could be.
You had never heard of it, or?
No, I'm joking. I just said it's a mystery. It's a mystery of what it is. I don't know. I can tell you the Gum Out. Throw that in the trash. Don't waste your money. Go give it to the guy standing at the stoplight with the sign instead of giving it.
Well, yeah, but there's many Gum Out little products. This is the one that treats 21 gallons for $3.
Well, but
and I'll swear by that, and I'll swear by Marvel Mystery Oil. And I'm in aviation, and biplanes, the guys are using it. Then it never misses a stroke. Plus the fact, I had a stuck valve. Well, the computer's not going to tell you that.
No, well,
maybe a plug or a wire, but not a stuck. Well,
a computer's not going to tell you anything at the end of the day. It's just what area it is. But you bet a stuck valve, computer will pick that up because it's going to pick up the misfire on the engine.
For sure.
I mean, you have a bad spark plug. The computer doesn't tell you have a bad spark plug. The computer tells you have a misfire.
I've heard a few stories. Some people get some, that mystery oil. It is a mystery. Back in the day, transmission oil was actually made from whales. I mean, it
really?
was, it's things have changed over the years, but never know where this oil comes from and what it is. And there's a few snake oils at work, and mystery oil is one of them.
That's one of them. We use it in air tools at the shop. I use it on all kinds of things, loosening. I mean, but also don't treat a modern technology with old technology. That does, the biplanes, those guys are, I don't know when they last made biplanes, but probably about the time Marvel Mystery Oil came out. But it does work in a lot of applications. There's many things where it can do good.
I do want to mention something about the Gum Out or the additive in the fuel tank. You ever notice your car runs better when it's clean? It's a placebo effect. I mean, in some cases, you get your car washed, all of a sudden, boy, man, what did I pick up, 25 horsepower? This thing runs great. I feel better. I look better. Everything is better when my car is clean. So we're going to sneak in Dennis in Chandler. He's got a 2000 Mercury Sable. How can we help you, Dennis? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. This 2000 Sable we bought new in 2000, actually, and it's got 130,000 miles, and it runs beautifully. The problem that's come up in the last 6 or 7 months is that about every 3 to 5 days, it won't start. It turns over, and it won't start. So then I turn it off, and we wait 15 or 20 minutes, and then it starts. And I've taken it to 3 good shops, reputable shops with certified mechanics, and not one of them has said they really know what's wrong and they really don't want to risk taking a shot at it. They run the codes. They say everything's okay, but one person did say something interesting. He said it could be the anti-theft device, that there's an issue between the key and the starting computer.
Yep. Hey, Dennis, we're going to have to cut you short, but that's one of those deals. The first rule in diagnosticianing is you got to make it happen. And if they can't make it happen, all we can do is guess. So do we guess or do we leave it there so they can make it happen? We'll see you next week.